It is the dawn of a new era on Planet Kai. The void has been vanquished, and finally the denizens of Planet Kai have been liberated to enjoy the simpler things in life. Well, actually, not quite yet, and the void hasn't really been vanquished, but it does seem that way at the moment. If you have been keeping up with the ongoing developments in Ultrafun lore, you will remember that at the end of the game, Qbert joins you as a mercenary. However, Qbert is greedy and he keeps asking you for more and more money until you end up in enormous amounts of debt and the developer quits the game. In the version of Ultrafun that's currently available for free on Steam, that is just where the game ends, and it's very unceremonious and quite terrible. However, the Kizd won't take that sitting down. I have been hard at work creating new content for Ultrafun that takes place after the developer quits working on the game. Before I get into what I've got planned, I will describe the changes that I've made already. First of all, and to be fair, this isn't really endgame content, this is accessible at any point in the game, I have finally set up the trading system that I talked about in the last video, or maybe the last two videos. It is simpler than I had initially planned it to be, which is a very good thing. At first, I was thinking about front-loading some complexity into it with auctions and bidding for multiple traders and things like that. At this point, which is very early on, that is too much though. As it is, workers will now drop random items when they eat voidlings. These items will automatically summon traders who will walk up and decide if they want to buy it. If they don't want to buy it, they will walk away, but if they do, they will pay some gold and carry it with them. Of course, you do need this gold, because by my calculations you will be about 400,000 gold coins in debt by the end of the game. I still have to run some testing on what it's actually like to make heavy use of this system early in the game. I think you could probably run through some upgrades really early on by trading in the fragment rather than playing Voidling Assault. I think that's fine, realistically, because you don't actually get that much gold for it, which is something I am going to come to in a minute. And there's a bit of an initial time investment before it really picks up anyway. And also, you just won't have a very large colony in the beginning, so you won't have that much bandwidth for generating money. I could possibly restrict the item drops to only being items that you have previously discovered in Voidling Assault, at least at the beginning of the game. Since the first few items that you collect are worth next to nothing anyway, this might just be the best way to do it. In addition to the early game changes, you are now able to ask Ortail what's going on. Ortail isn't very helpful though, when they don't seem to really like you. Regardless, that is something that you can do if you want to. I've also polished up the ending to the Voidling Assault section. Although it previously just put you onto the fragment, now it creates this kind of cutscene thing. It shows the developer quitting the game and deconstructing everything as well. It's pretty cool, actually. Take a look at it. If I've edited this video properly, it should be on the screen. I will say that I am fairly surprised with the apparent lack of bugs from disabling all of these systems. I expect that if I ever reopen Voidling Assault, that's when there's going to be a huge bug burden, but to be honest, I don't think that I actually will. For one thing, I've been trying to evade the massive amount of technical debt in Voidling Assault for a while now. I've had tons of ideas for new features that would just become huge problems to implement for one reason or another, and even the features that do exist barely work half the time. I am more than happy to just call it an ending and move on to new portions of the game. For another thing, I just don't intend to abandon the exciting and fast-paced shoot-'em-up gameplay that Ultrafun is currently known for. So here's what I've got planned for the future. I know it is ambitious, so go ahead and yap about scope creep. I really don't care anymore. If you described what the game is already in 2025 to me before I even started, and you told me to make it, I would laugh. This game is already enormous. So, I've got 3 parts outlined. For one thing, the spaceman can play games with the Kizd to earn joy. This is where the shoot-'em-up action comes back in. Since Kistlings are canonically immortal and they are Mary Sue's and they cannot be injured in any way, they are more than happy to get shot to pieces to generate excitement. I think joy is a currency of sorts, but I don't think it's going to be like the gold coins which you can just stack infinitely. I am thinking it would grow, possibly decay over time, and have a series of hard and soft caps which can be expanded as the game goes on. This isn't the first time I wanted to use joy as a currency, by the way. I was doing this for the original Masochist Psychic Sadism prototype back in 2018, so it feels fitting to bring it back around now. In many ways, I'm going back into that prototype to borrow some ideas. There are still several more things, like the Vipers, which nobody particularly remembers, which I would love to bring back, but I'm not sure how, and I am probably a little bit far off from doing that just yet. Anyway, joy is used to buy items from Earth. Now these aren't the weird, creepy, strange void items that you are probably familiar with. Since I'm a scientist in real life, I would like to integrate some of my work here by keeping the focus on so-called science items, which I've actually had in the game for a little while. This would allow me to create some kind of a border with edutainment, which is something that I'm really interested in doing, and just raising awareness for some of my favorite things. I mean, you have to understand, there is nothing that a scientist loves more than talking about their special interests. It probably won't be too specific. I'll have to think about how I can really integrate it. If I could deepen the items, I could add more information to them. I was thinking that having 1,000 items that are all nearly meaningless is a little bit unwieldy. Although it was fun and it's very cool, I'd like to try a different approach, which is a small number of deeper items. For instance, a whole topic rather than, like the sole of a shoe or something. One of the ideas that I had for gamifying the trading system is to allow for refining an item. That means to increase its quality in some way to justify a higher price. I think that this can be done by unlocking more snippets of information that are tied to the central theme of the item. I might end up calling them something other than items at this point, I'm not really sure yet. I might just go all in and start calling them memes, since that's what they really are, and that's what these creatures are actually selling. Once you've earned your joy, you've bought your items, it's on to the main event, which is selling the items to the Intergalactic Federation. This is going to be the hardest part to design, since it's essentially the system that I've got in place right now, but it needs to be better and more fun. For one thing, I can kind of take inspiration from other games like Animal Restaurant, which have advertising features and upgradable facilities that attract more customers. I also had the idea to use workers as salespeople for this part, mostly because I just like the idea of an inexperienced worker talking to a customer and saying fuck off when asked about the product. I mean, you'd be able to improve the workers, so at a certain point they'd be really good at it, but I know all of this is kind of edging into scope creep, so I'm not fully committed to this idea yet. I think potentially as well, it could all take place on another fragment. I mean, I'll have to think about it. With the Void being out of the picture, I do have room to try new things, but the Void isn't the only antagonist in this game. I've got more ideas which I won't bother to mention in this video, but for now, that's just the outline. I probably need help with designing fun trading systems. If you have any ideas, or you can suggest any games that I should play for inspiration, please let me know. I cannot stress enough how helpful it is when people give me random ideas in the comments. For one thing, it just motivates me to work on the game, but for another thing, it actually does give me ideas. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos about Ultra Fun. I mean, hopefully. It would be a shame if I just cancelled the game at this point. I can't say it won't happen, though. Goodbye.